The fallout from the occupation in Caledonia continues, and it continues to divide people. I'm sure that the people in charge at the McGuinty government, when they started deciding they were going to police one group of people one way and one another, and it all depended on what race you were, I bet they thought that this was going to be a good thing, that this would help ease racial tensions. Instead, I think it's exacerbating them. And one of the best examples of that is a case involving a gentleman named Richard Smoke and the beating that he laid upon a homeowner in Caledonia, a builder named Sam Gaultieri. The man was beaten within an inch of his life, Richard Smoke giving less than 2 years in jail. Less than 2 years in jail. Why? Because our laws demand that judges take into account the fact that somebody is Native and historical reasons and the overpopulation of Natives in our jails. So they have to give them reduced sentences. Here to join us now and talk more about this and what it means for his family is Sam's brother, Joe. Mr. Gaultieri, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
It's got to be frustrating for you. If you could walk us through, for people that aren't familiar with your brother's case, what exactly happened that put him in the hospital? And I want to warn people, as you're talking, we will be showing a couple of photos that your family's provided of your brother in hospital. They're not overly graphic, but they're a little shocking. So what exactly happened that put him in the hospital?
Well, my brother is a builder. He had a great reputation as being a framer builder, a very successful one. He was building a home for his daughter and his future son-in-law in Sterling Heights, which is probably a half a kilometer down from Douglas Creek Estates that you had mentioned earlier. There was some Native occupiers, or they believed that that territory was also theirs. They were planning on doing to Sterling Heights what they did Douglas Creek, which take it over, and hope that the government would give it to them. During the morning where my brother got injured, or a day where he got injured, in the morning he went by to take a look at some of the subtrades that were in there. He was allowed to go in. There was a cordoned-off area. Natives were all over the place, and some of his builders were there, or some of the subtrades. He also noticed that one of the natives put up a flag on top of his house, on top of a scaffolding of his house. He was up there. My brother was concerned for his safety, and it's documented on video where my brother asked him to come down before somebody gets hurt and falls off. The native kind of gave him the finger and told him, where to go. That this is basically they're planting a flag that's their house from now on. My brother climbed up the scaffolding, did what the OPP should have done, threw the flag down, got the individual off the scaffolding, and figured that would be the end of it. Told his trades to go home. He was told by the OPP to leave the area and that they would take care of it. He went back a few hours later with a few of his workers to check up on the house to make sure all the trades had gotten out safely and everything was fine. Wasn't allowed to go in the Sterling Heights area through the front. Was told that he couldn't go with his truck, and so he decided to go through the back into another subdivision and look at his house. He noticed that
this is land. Just to be clear, this is land that he owns.
Correct.
He has
Correct.
the deed to it. This isn't.
Correct.
Okay, go on.
And although the natives were allowed to be on it, he wasn't. He went to the backyard through a neighbor's house to take a look at the house and noticed that there was people inside his house. They believed it was natives. So he climbed over the fence and followed by some of his workers. Went inside to find that it was occupied by many natives. Told them to get out. They refused. They actually said, "This is our house now." And he says, "No, it's not. It's my daughter's. Get the F out of here." They refused to go. The scuffle ensued, got hit in the back of the head, which turned out to be, we believe, a piece of oak rail that was left in the house. Was being beaten to death. When one of the other workers came up through the back, it was a elevated two-story or a walkout two-story. So one of the workers came up from downstairs and noticed that Richard Smoke, turns out, was on top of him. My brother was unconscious, and he was striking down for another blow before the worker said, "What the F are you doing?" Richard Smoke turned and left. That final blow, that very second, was the difference between homicide and aggravated assault.
And the judge, in giving the sentence, said that this was close to culpable homicide.
Correct. It was one blow away.
One blow away. So such a strong denunciation by the judge. I have trouble blaming the judge because the law says he has to do this. How do you feel that the law requires our judges to act in this way? He said we've got to strongly denounce this, but my hands are kind of tied. I've got to do this. The Crown had asked for 6 to 8 years. He got less than 2.
We believe the judge made an error on sentencing. We are looking for an appeal. We're looking for an appeal from the Crown. They're the only ones who can call for an appeal. We wish it could be us. So we're going to try another route in getting this clarified. The Gladue report, which he relied on, was flawed in his interpretation. In the report, it said that although the consideration must be given to Aboriginal people in sentencing, it's on the low scale of a crime. On higher scales, no consideration, and it could be equal with a non-native. That was one of the mistakes he made. The second mistake we believe he made was in the interpretation of the Gladue report said that he must take stock of bringing this individual back into the community, and his ability to heal in the community is not just the Aboriginal community, but it's also the white man's community. And there was no healing in this sentencing whatsoever. In fact, it aggravated the situation even further.
Where do you go from here? You're hoping for an appeal, and I understand that you're hoping to go another avenue as well in trying to expose what's been going on. I think it's been well documented in Christy Blatchford's book, Helpless, but you want to go another route as well.
Right. We definitely believe that there is more than a smoking gun. There's residue in somebody's fingers of the gun itself. And we're gonna find out. My brother is in the process of suing both the OPP and the Ontario government. Like Gary McKell had said earlier, we're looking for those documents. We're looking for those notes and disclosure. And once this goes to trial, we have access to that. And that's where we need to go. I've asked for an inquiry. The inquiry that originally had set up the new mandate with the OPP by the government, which was the Ipperwash episode, that inquiry, it happened to be that a native was killed and there was inquiry there. My brother was almost killed. There should be an inquiry here. We should find out why this two-tier justice system is not working. And who is responsible? Who held the police back? Who told the police to stand down? We want to know. We think a trial is going to be the only way to get it. Disclosure of those documents will get it. And we hope that the community finds out this isn't just happened to my brother. This is a crime against every North American, everybody in Canada.
I want to ask you this. I know the Caledonia area well. I spent a lot of time in my youth there. It was never a divided area.
Correct.
How divided is it now?
It was really surprising for me to see how both communities worked, because I lived in Hamilton, not in Caledonia area. The community was very close. My brother hired Aboriginals on many bases. He built houses on their land. Now they don't speak to each other. It has gotten worse. So the fact that the Gladue report says that in sentencing, a healing process should take place, a reconstructive nature of sentencing that is helpful to both is actually not there anymore. It has backfired. The whole principle has backfired. They should have a new report based on new investigation, and we hope to push for that. And right now there's currently talk about an investigative journalistic movie that might get to the bottom of this. Christine Blanchford's book, Christy's book is amazing. The fact that even the title Helpless is how the people of Caledonia felt. That's how my brother felt. He felt he had nobody protecting him. OPP was not protecting him. He felt he had to protect his family and his house, and that's wrong. We pay our taxes. He pays his taxes. He expected more. We all did.
Miscarriage of justice. Joe, thanks for coming in to speak to us today.
Thank you very much.
All right.